Good morning, everyone. We want to welcome you to the updated master plan presentation of the former Lafayette Square Mall. You are sitting in what was formerly Sears, which may bring back many memories to several of you as you walk in this building, because you probably haven't been in a minute. So we have some really amazing updates for you today. But first, we would like to recognize Secretary of State Diego Morales for joining us today. Thank you. And thank you to everyone else for attending today. We have some folks from Marian University, we have community members, tenants, a mix of an amazing group of people here today for us to share this story. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you the CEO and proprietor of Soho's Capital, Mr. Fabio de la Cruz.
Thank you so much, Susan. First, I'd like to thank everybody just for the fact that are here and for the time that we have, that you've been waiting for us to reveal the updated master plan. As I was coming here, one of the things that I was thinking was, what will be the first question that people will have in their minds as they will ask me as a reporter or be interested in the successful path of this neighborhood. And one of the things that I was thinking was, obviously, what they change, what will update the master plan, what we have to do something else. And for some reason, I start to think deep, and I start to think that what I think about leadership. And as a leader, I believe that if I think that I took a wrong turn and I'm not willing to be humble enough to correct it, it will be more, my ego will be more important than the people that depend on me. In this case is obviously the team that helped us to put all this together, because what we do is more about the team than myself. But above that, is a community, is a neighborhood, is a lot more. As I start to explain what happened from the last time that I came here and explain what we're gonna do, several things happened. The first thing that happened was we started to receive a lot of feedback on what we were trying to accomplish. And one of the things that we noticed is that people understood better than me that it's kind of hard to be authentic when you're trying to replicate someplace else. And authenticity for me is really important. And for the new generation, it's even more important. And because we were trying to have this neighborhood that is vibrant, that people enjoy what it is, that we can be proud of. And as I have this problem not to think small, I want to be the best that I can be. And more than I was thinking about the feedback I was receiving as, I like what you're doing, but remind me Epcot, remind me Las Vegas, etc. More that I was thinking is, it's gonna be impossible to recreate the neighborhood that tried to be authentic, and it's gonna be something else. At the same time, we have the pandemic, and that changed the economics of the whole project, not in the neighborhood as a whole, but it did as the parcel of the neighborhood, as the parcel of the mall. As we were doing that, one of the things that obligate us to do is for the numbers to work, to have more density, to go bigger and be able to get debt. That is something that I didn't want to do before. As we were doing that, I started to find a lot of opportunities as I see that this neighborhood can be a way to show the best that Indiana has to offer, to bring the talent that will make this place better, and more than anything, retain the talent that unfortunately, if the opportunities are not here, will leave. That's basically an introduction of what we are trying to accomplish in our update. I don't want to take a lot of your time. If you want to go ahead and show this video, that will explain a little bit.
When we reflect on the history of our neighborhood, we uncover a rich legacy of treasured memories where every corner tells a story, reminding us of special moments in time and the enduring bond of a thriving neighborhood. As the years passed, Lafayette Square wasn't spared from the wider decline that impacted malls across the nation. But within these challenging times, a resilient spirit emerged, paving the way for a story of revival and hope. From the shadows, international communities breathed life into our streets. Over 80 languages filled the air, and 120 restaurants became a global feast. This wasn't just a neighborhood. It was our shared hope for a brighter tomorrow.
This neighborhood has a special place in my heart. It's where Soho started, where my first residential property was bought, and my first commercial property was bought. Everything in business started from me there. And after seeing the neighborhood for 2 decades growing and seeing the revival of it gives me a sense of purpose. It means a lot.
We are helping to bring back the pride of our neighborhood. Soho's capital built a new police headquarters to provide additional peace of mind. We also installed high-tech security cameras and hired private security for additional safety. And the remodeling of hundreds of businesses, which is inspiring others to do the same.
The vision cannot be more clear. We're on a strong path, and we're already seeing the dramatic change of the neighborhood.
Today, a new phase is unfolding. Our neighborhood reborn and reimagined. This area is more than a location, it's a community. A place where we are welcome to breathe life into our streets with talent, developers, and companies, bringing the innovation and the opportunities the area has been craving for so long.
Those are hard facts. We compete in those spaces very effectively. And that's the only way that we're gonna be ready for what is to come. That's the best part of it.
Welcome to The Square. Introduction of the captivating Alamo Draft House Cinema, a bustling international community center, state-of-the-art sports complexes, vibrant entertainment venues, and even a high-tech film studio, the area is undergoing a remarkable transformation. When you combine this with innovative residential concepts, it culminates in what we would describe as an extraordinary place to live, work, and play.
The square will become the best neighborhood to live in the state, plain and simple. We are aiming for an A+. And remember, all at the walking distance.
Your bond with this place is the driving force behind the revival. The Square, a haven where cherished memories thrive and a bright future awaits. We're committed to doing our part, but the true power now lies in your hands. Embrace this journey, make it your legacy, and shape a future that will inspire generations to come.
Thank you so much. This is basically all the progress that we've been doing in the neighborhood. We're already seeing a big change in the neighborhood. We are finishing the bigger circle, which I explained the things that we're doing in 3 circles: the bigger neighborhood, the parcel of the mall, and the mall itself. The bigger circle, we'll be completing that by this year, because there's around 20% of the properties that we own that we didn't have enough time in the summertime to finish it, but it's gonna be done in this year. And the anchors that at this time of the development of the neighborhood is not easy to bring a big tenant. We're building businesses to be sure that every place is taken. The community center is going to be open this year. Animal Drive House is going to be open this year. And this is the master plan of this parcel. Isaac Babos from City Development, who helped to develop Ironwork and Batterworks, is the person that helped us to put this together. And if I start to explain basically what we're trying to accomplish here is, I don't know if I can take this. Can you hear me? Basically, it's gonna be a K-12 school. We try to have the best school that we can have. We support every single school in the neighborhood, and we love them, and we're helping every day to get better. This school is gonna be something different. It's something that will crack to be the best in the state. We will have, on the side, we have a hotel that is gonna be Middleside Hotel. Already working with several developers that are natural change on a hotel. We will have a sport facility that we're already working with several universities that they like to use those. At the same time, we're gonna take down most of the buildings. The biggest change came in there because at the beginning the idea was we will deploy the money that we have, we utilize all the buildings that we have, and as we do that, we maximize the resources that we have. Now, because as construction costs went up, in order to make sense with the numbers, we have to put debt and go bigger. That's why it doesn't make any sense at this point to keep the buildings that we have. That's why all the buildings that are gonna be in the parcel are gonna be gone, and even the mall, we're gonna cut most of it. The only parts that are gonna be remaining is basically if you go from the main hall and this side is the only thing that is gonna be done. We're gonna cut, all the south side is gonna be taken down. We're gonna have a concert venue there. We're gonna have the main path, basically half of it was the retail side of the mall. And in this side, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna have, instead to have a mall food court, we will have a food hall as, let's say, the 16 Tech, as the garage, etc. We will have a lot more restaurants, and the rest of the building, because this is really big, actually part of this building is gonna be here. We will subsidize the artists to come in. I believe that every cool neighborhood is cool because the artists. Unfortunately, what happened is they move into places that they can afford the rent, and they make that neighborhood better and cooler. But as that is happening, prices start to go up until it gets to a point that they have to leave because they cannot afford the rent. In my case, the same way that I did the police, the same way that I did the community center, I'm thinking in a long term, and because I own more properties, I can keep subsidizing these things, because as our neighborhood gets better, I can get the return someplace else. Another addition that is new is we will have a film production studios. Indiana passed this law with incentives for productions. One of the things that we like to do is be this place where we know by the concerts that we're going to provide. We're going to have the best concert that we can have in the state, and we like to broadcast that around the world to enhance the perception that Indiana is a great place to live, where the things happen, but at the same time to have film productions that can show the best of Indiana, Indianapolis, and our neighborhood. We're already forming partnerships, and we have some partnerships that we're working with our attorneys to put together and be sure that we can go public on those. But so far, the reception and the business community, the people that we're working on, is being fantastic in the state and outside of the state. If you guys have any questions, I'm free to answer those.
Fabio, how much money have you dumped or wasted in this mall in renovations that now you're going to tear down?
Well, that's an interesting question, because for me, mistakes are not wasting. You understand? For me, it's the way that you get better. And that's why I've never seen the things that I do that I had to redo again as a mistake, because the only way that you can get better is to take full force the route that you choose, and if you think that is not the right one, you turn and go to the thing that you think that is right. That's no waste, because you're testing yourself with reality, and the only thing that is going to tell you if you're in the right path or no is the reality.
But all the money that you spend, especially on like updating the heating and air conditioning, are those parts of the building still going to be standing and used? Or?
Obviously, this cost me money. There's no question about that. How much? Yeah, it's billions of dollars. Is something that if I had to do it again, I will choose different. But like I said, you cannot. If I knew what is going to happen tomorrow, or if the decision that I'm going to take is going to be good or bad, I will know what lottery ticket to buy and get over it. But unfortunately, I don't have that skill.
Can you explain the financing a little more deeply? How much is this going to cost? And where's the money going to come from?
Okay. That's a great question. Basically, if I rephrase what I was saying before, the idea was we deploy the cash that we have, and with the cash flow, we finish the whole project. Now, because again, in order to make this possible, we need to put debt, we need incentives, because if it's not, the numbers just don't work. To do that and to go what the institutions need in order for us to get those incentives, we have to go with a parcel and cut it in smaller pieces. And the idea is, as we go to that small piece, we will get there in that piece of the project to build something bigger. We're open to other partners to do this. More for funds is more for expertise. I know what I know, and I try to be inside of that sphere of expertise. I always did really well on that. Obviously, I cannot be an expert in hotels since I've been doing retail all my life. That's why we will have a partner in the hotels, maybe a couple of different partners in the hotels, and that's basically how the whole thing is gonna be. Now, if we're talking about how much the whole project is gonna cost, I will be really surprised if we're not close to $1 billion, because as you multiply what is the cost of a square feet, plus everything that we're gonna do, plus the things that everybody's gonna do, obviously, plus the debt, that's a number that I won't be afraid to disclose.
Indianapolis, the mayor and the state supporting you.
Yes, actually, I was yesterday with the mayor. He had full support. He said that he's gonna do everything that it takes in order to be sure that we do what we can. With the state, it's the same thing. That's why so far we receive words of support, but obviously, like everything else, we're gonna see when it comes to the numbers. Yeah.
Is there a timeline at all yet of when you'll start tearing down?
Yes. Basically, as I said before, our timeline is we'll start the rezoning, and we already engaged our attorneys and the city is the first step for the incentives, and we think that we're gonna be done with those around 6 months from now, and after that we can start to do construction. And the more likely things, the first phase is gonna be completed by the end of next year.
Sorry, just to clarify, so you're anticipating that rezoning and the incentives will be completed in place within 6 months?
That's our goal. Obviously, you know how the things work. We will try to be done by the next 6 months, but if it take a little bit more, this is what we need to do.
Initially, there was a private investor involved in this project with you. Is that person still involved, or do you have other investors?
I don't have another investors. Actually, that investor wanna do more because he loves what we're doing.
Circle Center Mall is undergoing a redevelopment project as well. How are you planning on grabbing the younger demographics and the new generations, kind of competing against them in the next 10 years?
I don't think that we're competing, because the reality is, it's a hard truth that California got too expensive and people start to go to Denver, and after that they start to go to Austin, and after that they start to go to Nashville. That's why people are coming. What we have to do is to put ourselves in the front of the line. No, you understand, the leftover, to say, okay, yeah, we don't have what we have in these cities, but it's cheaper. You understand? And I think more things like Battleworks, more things as what they're gonna do, more things like we're gonna do, we will grab more people come. It's gonna incentivize more companies to come. And that's why I don't see that as a competition. Actually, I see an effort in the same direction.
So obviously the goal of this plan is helping to revitalize and bring more benefit to our community. What are ways that you guys would appreciate or look for help for like local organizations? So for example, I'm a pastor, I'm at a church. What are ways that different communities in this community, like the faith community and other non-profits, can support to collaborate so this can actually take place to help our overall community?
That's a great question, and something that is being said in the video, and that's part of what I am. I'm from this neighborhood. Most of my properties still are in this neighborhood, and that's why I really involve myself and my team with the neighbors associations everybody that has something to say, and we are supporting them. We're trying to do the best that we can, and we like to hear them, because at the same time, if we like to have a better community, no better the neighborhood, to tell us, hey, we have this problem, we have this problem, we have this problem. That's why I have been doing this for over 20 years. Maybe I haven't reached you, but we're gonna be sure that before you leave, you're gonna be part of that.
I heard you say some of your properties are going to be opening this year. Do you have a timeline of when those might be?
Yes, we're working on the community center, June, July. Like I said, you know how construction is. Sometimes there is issues. That's why that will be a good estimate. Alamos Rat House, we're talking about August, September, because we got bigger. The idea is we're gonna spend a lot more. That's gonna be, for me, Alamos Rat House is the best cinema in the country, maybe in the world. We will have, if it's not the best, one of the best in the whole franchise. That's why it's gonna be more than 20 million spent in that one. That's why, because we got a lot of other things better and bigger, that's why we delay a little bit opening, but August, September will be a good time. We have another business that we were ready to open, the sporting complexes, that we're holding up to see if we're gonna have incentives or not on those. But we're ready to go. We already have the plans, we already have the approvals, we have everything. We have 2 event centers. The one is gonna be approved this week, and they're gonna start construction. Maybe the next 6 months also is gonna be open. And those are gonna be the places that right now are the biggest places that are empty. Because the smaller places are full. We don't have any more vacancy, and we're happy to say that even the owners that compete with us, or they have properties in the neighborhood, also have full occupancy. And now, not only that, the prices start to catch up where a big class neighborhood will be, and that's a big deal for what this neighborhood was.
Fabio, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last tenants here in the mall were relocated in the summer of 22, August of 22, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so the mall has been empty essentially since then.
Yes.
When do you think we'll actually see something active and happening with some kind of facility open and doing business or providing services on this property?
We're thinking beginning of next year, because now we already changed the roof, we already changed the AC units, we changed the electric. That's why we get really ahead. But because the concept changed, the theme changed, now we have to start with the designer from the scratch. And I was fortunate enough to hire the master designer of Alamos Rat House, that he's been doing these kind of catering things for 30 years for maybe the coolest brand in the coolest cities. That's why we are in his space. You know, we cannot give him 10 jobs at the same time. That's why he's helping us with the community center, he's helping us with the Alamos Rat House. Now actually he started working on the mall. The thing that is gonna delay a little bit more the mall is how we will separate the space that we're gonna have left. Because the biggest challenge is, okay, we will have artists. How much? We have 300,000 square feet. It's gonna be 200. What are we gonna do with the rest? How are we gonna cut Sears? Because obviously there is a lot of engineering there. That's what we're working right now with the engineers before we give that to the designer to put together a plan where we can say now, okay, now we know what we need, or now we know exactly what we wanna do. And now from that we can give the best of constructions for them to give us the time when that's gonna be done. I will be really surprised if by next year what is left of the mall is not open.
Which percentage of mall will be still standing?
If you include the anchors, it will be less than 50%.
Fabio, how are you working with the International Marketplace Coalition in your plan?
We have essentially different mission and vision. For them it's more integrate the different cultures in the neighborhood. For us is to have the best neighborhood that we can have. That's basically the big difference that we have. But we collaborate in one way or another.
Where we're standing now, is this going to be demolished?
No. Actually, this is going to be where the artists are going to be. Maybe what we're working with the engineers right now is where the street that is going to be cut is going to be. Let's say from the middle of this building, how much is going to be taken down. Like I said, the biggest challenge that we have, and that's something that Isaac, the person that put the development plan together, was the fact that if we try to create a sense of neighborhood, and we have this mastership, the second biggest property in Indiana, it's going to be impossible to transit through the neighborhood from the back to the front. That's why we took the decision to take down the whole south part and a little bit of the north part, some part of the east side of the mall. But obviously, all the frontage is going to stay. The only thing that we're going to change is the front, because that's something that it merits some explanation. As we were working and trying to have a new vision for the theme of what we try to accomplish, I had 3 new teams working on this, that they were really, really experienced on the youth, on the talent, etc. And as Isaac was mentioned, the fact of the different things that we had to do to attract them, and I started to think that those things make sense. Our master designer, he goes to the neighborhoods and tries to see that the things that he does reflect the legacy of the neighborhood. As he was working on that, this neighborhood has an emotional connection with everybody in the city and the state. It would be bad if we just disregard that. And he found the original entrance of the mall, and I thought that was really cool. He thought that was really cool. And as we were thinking about that, and before I was thinking that I would have some kind of competition to have a landmark that can be shown outside of the state or something good in the neighborhood, I said we have it, you understand, because that has a meaning of something that it was. On top of that, if we color those columns, the idea is at night we're gonna be illuminated with different colors, we will add the diversity and the international face of the community. And that's why our logo reflects exactly what we all are about. Because not only the neighborhood was a pride of Indiana, and it's something that we shouldn't disregard, the international aspect of this neighborhood is unheard of. Last week I bring some developers from Wynwood, Miami, that is made one of the more colorful artists names neighborhood, and they were shocked about that in one strip center you have 10 different restaurants from different parts of the world. That's why everything got together. And when our marketing team came to us and said, hey, I think that we think about a good name for the neighborhood without knowing that what they were telling me the other teams before. They said, you take it or leave it, but we think the square will reflect the legacy of what this neighborhood was. And it still is short and catchy enough that a youth is going to be able to understand it. Sorry for the long answer. But I think that was, I'm going to take that away. Anybody else? Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I appreciate the time, and I will be available for any personal questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.